Lakshmi Prasanna, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this session, we will discuss about segmentation. Coming to memory segmentation. So here, memory can be segmented in two ways. So two ways of memory will be available in a microprocessor. So here what are the two ways means? One is linear memory and another one is segmented memory. So here what is the meaning of this linear memory means? Here considering the entire physical memory. So considering the entire physical memory as a single memory. Okay. So considering the entire memory as a single memory is called as linear memory. So for example, if any microprocessor consists of this linear memory, in order to fetch any instruction from this memory, it has to search the entire memory, and whenever the instruction is available in that address, then that particular instruction will be taken. So that is what happens in the linear memory. Now, the second type of memory is segmented memory. So here segmented memory means the physical memory will be divided into different segments. So for example, if we consider here, so if we consider this as a physical memory, this physical memory can be divided into different segments. So for example here, if you take 8086 microprocessor, it supports segmented memory concept. So the memory that is available in 8086 microprocessor is a segmented memory. That means this physical memory will be divided into different segments. So generally if you take the register organization of this 8086 microprocessor, it is having different segment registers like code segment, data segment, stack segment and extra segment. So here the physical memory in case of 8086 microprocessor, it is divided into different logical segments. Since here the memory is 1 MB, 8086 microprocessor if you take, 1 MB memory will be divided into 16 logical segments. 1 MB memory will be divided into 16 logical segments. So if we consider here, this is a physical memory, and so this is a code segment, data segment, stack segment and extra segment. So each segment size is of 64 KB. Okay. Now, so what is the main advantage of having this segmented memory means? Here, so in the code segment, the information related to the main program will be stored in this code segment memory. And so in the data segment, the information other than the program, whatever if it is required, then that particular thing will be stored in the data segment. So here data segment and extra segment both are same. Coming to another segment here, stack segment. So in this stack segment, the stack related information will be stored. Like if the control wants to transfer from main program to the subprogram, it has to store the contents of the flag register. It has to store the contents of CS and IP also. So all these contents and all will be stored in this stack segment memory only. And if the control again after executing the interrupt service routine, if it wants to go to the main program, from the control directly comes to this stack segment and it retrieves the contents from the stack, and then again it goes to the main program and it executes the remaining lines in the main program. So that everything, the contents of CS, IP and flag register all these will be present in this stack segment. If the processor wants to access code, directly it can go to the code segment and access. No need to search that information in the entire physical memory. If it wants any information related to the data segment, directly it goes to the data segment and then it can take the information whatever it is required. So if the memory is divided into segments like this, it is a very easy way to access the data easily. So this is the main advantage of having segmented memory in a processor. So if you take 8085 microprocessor, the memory that is available in 8085 microprocessor, the type of memory, it is linear memory. But whereas if you come for 8086 microprocessor, the type of memory that is available in that is segmented memory. So that is the drawback of linear memory, and these are some of the advantages of segmented memory. Next. So before going to the discussion of segmentation concept, first we should know what is meant by physical memory, segment address and offset address. So in order to calculate this physical address, segment address and offset address is required. Before going to the segmentation concept, since the memory is divided into different logical segments, in order to access any content from any of the segment, we have to know the physical address of that particular instruction. So before going to the segmentation concept, we should know first what is meant by physical address. In order to calculate this physical address, we need to have segment address and offset address. So here, what is meant by physical address means, it is a location. It is a location where actually the operand is resided. The operand is resided. Okay. So the processor, based on this physical address only, it is going to fetch the instruction from the memory. Okay. So here, based on this physical address, the processor is going to fetch the instruction from the memory. So based on this physical address, the processor fetches the instructions. The processor fetches the instructions from the memory. Okay. So here generally, in order to calculate the physical address, segment address and offset address is required. Now, the entire physical memory is divided into different logical segments. Here the segment address indicates the starting address of each segment. Okay. So here the segment address, what it indicates means, this indicates beginning address of any 64 KB memory segment. So here 64 KB memory segment means we are talking about, for example, 8086 microprocessor. Each segment is divided into the memory is divided into 16 logical segments. Each segment size is 64 KB. Okay. So in that 64 KB, the beginning address says the segment address. Now, here coming to the offset address. So here, if you consider this as one segment, again this segment will be divided into different locations. Okay. So within the segment, if we wanted to address anything, that address indicates the offset address. So offset address is the address within the segment, within 64 KB. So here offset address means it selects any location. So this is totally, if you consider 64 KB, In that 64 KB, it selects any location in this 64 KB memory. So it selects any location of 64 KB memory. Okay. So this is what the physical address, segment address and offset address. So these three things we have discussed with respect to 8086 microprocessor. Now, so we have to discuss now about segmentation. That means how the memory is segmented in 8086 microprocessor and how the memory is segmented in the advanced microprocessors. That is, it may be from 80286 or it may be from 80386. Okay. Generally here, if you talk about advanced microprocessors also, they will be operating in different modes. For example, if you take 80286 and 80386 microprocessor, they may be operating in different modes like real address mode and protected address mode. So whatever, if it is general purpose microprocessor like 8086 or advanced microprocessors like 80286 or 80386, if they are operating in the real mode, the physical address calculation, the memory segmentation and all will be same as 8086 microprocessor. Now, here if you take, this is the segmented memory concept under 8086 microprocessor. So in 8086 microprocessor, the number of segment registers that are available are code segment, data segment, stack segment and extra segment. Okay. So this data segment and extra segment both are same. The information related to data, that is other than program, it will be stored in these two segments. And in the code segment, the information related to the main program will be stored. And in the stack segment, the information related to the contents of CS, IP and flag register, all these things will be stored. So since this 8086 microprocessor is having 1 MB physical memory, because it is having 20 address lines, if you consider 2 power 20 where this 20 represents the number of address lines, it leads to 1 MB. So that is why the physical memory size in 8086 microprocessor is 1 MB. That 1 MB physical memory is divided into 16 logical segments. So 1 MB memory is divided into 16 logical segments. Each segment size is of, each segment size is of 64 KB. Okay. So that is why if we consider here, each segment size is of 64 KB. So if the 64 KB is not enough, we can also include another code segment or another data segment also. So that is also one of the advantage in the segmented memory concept. Now, in order to fetch any instruction from this segmented memory, we need to calculate the physical address. Just we have seen what is meant by physical address. So in order to calculate the physical address, it requires segment address and offset address. So in any case, if the segment address is from the code segment, offset address will be from the instruction pointer. Based on these two, physical address will be calculated. If the segment address is from the data segment, the offset address will be from SI register to calculate the physical address. If the segment address is from extra segment, the offset address will be from the DI register. Segment address is from the stack segment, the offset address may be from the stack pointer or base pointer. So this is the combination we have to follow. Based on the segment address, we have to consider proper offset address in order to calculate the physical address. So this is the segmented memory concept in 8086 microprocessor. Now, so in 8085 microprocessor, the memory is not segmented. We have only linear memory. But here in 8086 microprocessor, the memory is organized as segmented memory. So generally it consists of 20 address lines. So the memory that is available in 8086 microprocessor is 1 MB. that 1 MB memory is divided into 16 logical segments. Each segment size is of 64 KB. Now, so here the address anywhere within a segment is called as the offset address. And physical address, generally we know how to calculate, that is by considering offset address and segment address. We have two procedures. Considering the segment address, shifting the segment address towards left by 4 bits. To that segment data, offset address should be added. It leads to 20-bit physical address. Or another segment here, another procedure here is simply going for the formula segment address into 10 plus offset address. Now, so that is what about the segmentation concept in 8086 microprocessor. Now, here 8086 microprocessor is supporting segmented memory. Because of that, what are the advantages that are taking place? So we will see the advantages of segmented memory now. So it provides a powerful memory management mechanism. That means memory can be used very efficiently. Because how it can be used very efficiently means, since the memory is divided into different segments, because of that, the data related segment will be present in the data segment memory, and whereas the stack related information will be present in the stack segment only. Okay. So every information related to that particular segment will be present in that segments only. So because of that reason, here sharing of data is possible very easily. Because if you want any information related to data, directly you can go for the data segment and access. No need to search in the another segment. So data processing and sharing is very easy. And another advantages are segmentation allows extend the addressability of a processor. So each segment size is 64 KB. If that 64 KB is not sufficient to store that segment information, we have another segment, same segment, another segment also. Now, so here segmentation allows to use 16-bit registers in order to address the capability of 1 megabytes. So anyway, in 8086 microprocessor, the segment registers that are available and offset registers, all the registers that are available are 16-bit registers, which are going to addressing with only 1 megabyte information. Now, without segmentation, generally 20-bit registers are required. But since we are going for segmentation, only 16-bit registers are required. So it is possible to enhance the memory size of code, data and stack beyond the 64 KB by allocating more than one segment for each area. So anyway, 1 MB memory is divided into 16 logical segments. So that is why if you take what are the 16 logical segments, so 4 code segments will be there, 4 stack segments will be there, 4 extra segments will be there, 4 code stack segments, extra segments, data segment and code segments. Okay, each one will be 4. If one is not enough, another code segment we can use. If one stack segment is not enough, it is also having 3 more stack segments. Okay. Now, so those are some of the advantages of segmentation. So that is why in 8086 microprocessor, memory is a segmented memory. Now, in the same 8086 microprocessor, if you take types of segmentation. So there are 2 types of segmentation. One is overlapping segment, another one is non-overlapping segment. So if you take 8086 microprocessor, it is divided into 16 logical segments. Each segment size is 64 KB. How that memory allotment has done in 1 MB memory. The difference is here overlapping and non-overlapping. So first we will discuss about overlapping segment. Now, so if we consider here, this is a physical memory which has been segmented. If you take here, this is considered as segment 1, for example. and this is segment 2, second segment and first segment. So why this is called overlapping segments means, here you can observe, this is CS1, it is having 64 KB from here to here, and segment 2 is here CS2, code segment 2, because each segment will be 4, CS1, CS2, CS3, CS4, okay, ES1, ES2, ES3, ES4, SS1, SS2, SS3, SS4, and also you will have CS1, DS1, DS2, DS3, DS4. So here this is one code segment having 64 KB, okay, but here if you consider this is CS2, and this CS2 is starting, this segment is starting before the first segment is completed. So when the first segment completes up to here, but the second segment is starting before completing the first segment. That is why this is called overlapping segments. Okay. So in some cases, in the segmented memory, it may be overlapping and non-overlapping. So that is why this is called overlapping. So the second segment is starting before the first segment completes. Now, so overlapping segment means based on that above figure, since the segment starts at the particular address and its maximum size is 64 kilobytes. But if you consider another segment, that is CS2, it is starting before the first segment 64 kilobytes have been completed. So that is why those two segments are called overlapping segments. And second type is non-overlapping segments. Now, if we consider here the same physical memory, it is divided into different segments. So here we are considering code segment 1 and code segment 2, or the two segments. Each segment size is 64 KB only. But if you consider in this case, here this is the code segment having 64 KB up to this location, that is FFFF. Up to this location it is 64 KB. But here the second segment is starting after completing the first segment. It is from the address 0000 to FFFF, but its code segment address is starting at 2500. So that is why this case comes under non-overlapping segments. Now, so coming to the non-overlapping segment, here the segment starts, that is the first segment starts at a particular address and each segment maximum size is 64 kilobytes. But the another segment, that is CS2, if it starts after the 64 kilobytes of the first segment, that is CS1, then that particular two segments are called as non-overlapping segments. So this is the difference between segmentation memory and linear memory, and why segmentation is considered. Again, if you consider segmentation, it may be non-overlapping and overlapping. Now, we have talked about physical memory and how it will be segmented. So after segmentation, now we have to know some basic concepts like how the address should be allocated for that particular segments. So we have physical address, we have segment address and offset address. So here segment address and offset address is 16-bit, but whereas physical address is 20-bit. And here if you consider the 1 MB physical memory, it is divided into 16 logical segments. So the number of segments that are available in 1 MB physical memory is 16 segments. Now we should know how the address allotment should be done in the physical memory for segments as well as offset. Now, so generally the physical memory size of 8086 microprocessor is 1 MB. That 1 MB memory is divided into 16 logical segments. Each segment size is 64 kilobytes. Now, here, how to give the address for segments. That means 4 code segments will be there, 4 stack segments will be there, 4 data segments and 4 extra segments will be there. So totally 16. So first segment will be starting at 0000H, second segment at 1000H, and the 16th segment is F000H, where F is here 15, 0 to 15, totally 16 segments. So in this way, the segments address should be allocated for the segment, 16 segments. Next, offset means the address which we are representing within a segment. Okay, so each segment will be divided into again different locations. It will be starting from 0000 to FFFFH. So based on the segment address and offset address, we need to calculate the physical address where its size is 20 bit. So the physical address memory locations, address locations will be from 00000H to FFFFH. So this is how we have to allocate the addresses in the segmented memory. Now, so that is the total information about how the memory is segmented in 8086 microprocessor. Now, we should learn how the memory is segmented in advanced microprocessor. So simply to say, up to now whatever we have discussed, that is the memory segmentation when the microprocessor, whatever if it is general purpose 8086 or advanced microprocessors 80286 or 80386, when they are operating in the real mode. In this way, the memory segmentation will be done. But here, these advanced microprocessors 80286 and 80386, they will be operating in another mode other than real address mode. So what is another mode of operation means protected mode. Okay. So now we should know how the memory segmentation will be done if it is operating in the protected mode. So while discussing about the memory segmentation of 80386 or advanced microprocessors in the protected mode, we have to talk about 2 important terms which are called selector and another one is descriptor. Okay. So if we consider here the protected mode, so here we have to consider one table. Okay. So it consists of 13-bit index value. It consists of 13-bit index value and also it consists of RPL, requested privilege level. It will be of 2-bit in size. Okay. And also it consists of another bit which is called TI. So here TI represents table indicator. So that bit will be only 1 bit. So totally here this is a 16-bit register. This 16-bit register generally it is called as selector. Okay. So we need to talk about the terms selector and descriptor while learning about the segmentation concept in advanced microprocessor when they are operating in the protected mode. Now here this 13-bit index register will be having the information related to descriptor tables. So that is why here, so this 13-bit index value point out any one of the descriptor that is available in the descriptor table. So here this is the table. It consists of entire information related to descriptors. Okay. So descriptor simply I am representing here as D. Okay. So if any of the descriptor is selected, again it consists of selecting the parameters. So here that is why this is a descriptor and this is the descriptor table. Okay. So here descriptor table based on this descriptor, it may be selecting either GDT or LDT. Okay, so based on this, if any of the descriptor is selected, that descriptor will consist of different parameters. So what is the first parameter means? It consists of base address. Okay, and next it consists of limit address. And the next one is DPL or type. DPL says the descriptor privilege level and another parameter is type. Next, so if any of the descriptor is selected, based on this, the segment. So if you consider here, this is a memory consisting of some segments. Okay. So this is the segment. So based on this descriptor, any of the segment in this memory location will be selected. Now we will discuss about all these parameters and all in detail. And here this is the RPL value, which says the privilege levels. So we have studied that there is a 4-level memory protection mechanism. So this RPL, it consists of 2 bits. What are the 2 bits means? 00, 01, 10 and 11. So based on these 2 bits, privilege level will be selected. So here this 00 represents privilege level 0 and this is privilege level 1, privilege level 2 and this is privilege level 3. And next this is TI bit. It may be either 0 or 1. So if TI bit is 0, LDT will be selected. If TI bit is 1, GDT will be selected. So here we have descriptor table, GDT and LDT. Any one will be selected based on this TI bit only. So here TI represents table indicator. Okay. Now, so here we will see what is each bit representing. Now, so based on the above figure, we have seen a 13-bit index index value and RPL and TI bit. Now, here there are 3 tables. So just I have given there GDT and LDT, but along with this GDT, LDT, we also have one more which is called IDT. Okay. So GDT stands for Global Descriptor Table. Global Descriptor Table. And here LDT stands for Local Descriptor Table. And IDT stands for Interrupt Descriptor Table. So Global Descriptor Table means all the tasks information will be present in this GDT. Local descriptor table means the information related to particular task will be present in this LDT, local descriptor table. IDT means interrupt descriptor table. So the information related to the interrupts will be present in this table. So among these descriptor tables, we will consider GDT and LDT. So these two will be selected based on the TI bit. And next one is descriptor. Okay. So here, this is the descriptor. Okay. So what this descriptor consists of means information related to segment. So it consists of information related to segment. So what type of information related to segment it consists of? It consists of base address, limit address, DPL and type. Okay. So what it says means here. So previously the first parameter is base address. So it gives the base address of the segment. Okay. And the second one we have seen here, it is limit address. So here limit means, okay, so it indicates size of the segment. So that limit address indicates size of the segment. What is the segment size? And next, another parameter you have type or DPL. So in that the type indicates which type of segment. Which type of segment. So here we have different types of segments like code segment, stack segment, okay, extra segment, data segment. So which type of segment will be decided by this type. And another one is DPL. Okay, so DPL represents, D represents descriptor and PL represents privilege level. Okay. Now, so all these are the parameters that are available in this table. So here this index value represents what type of descriptor it has to select. So the descriptor will be selected based on this TI bit. If any of the descriptor is selected after setting the TI bit, then we have to see what is the information related present in the descriptor like base address, limit address, DPL and type. After seeing the information related to the descriptor, then only that particular segment will be selected from the memory. So this is what about the terms selector and descriptor. So this is how the memory will be segmented when it is operating in the protected mode. Now, so coming to the discussion about that previous protected mode, what we have discussed by considering that format, what we have observed that means those segments can hold code, data and stack and system data structures. And so memory segments can be assigned different parameters like attributes of privilege, and also it consists of base address which provides base address of the segment. It also consists of limit which says the size of the segment, and usage. So all these are the information related to the descriptor after selection. And so the information defining memory segment that will be stored in the segment descriptor. That means entire information will be stored in the selector. Now, so if you see here, there will be two formats. So this is the format representing code segment descriptor, and also you can observe this is another format which represents the data and stack segment descriptor. Okay, so two are the different descriptors. So this is code segment descriptor, code segment and extra segment both are same. This is the descriptor segment format, and so this is the format for data and also stack segment. Now, so first we will discuss about this code segment descriptor. So here we should have the segment base address and segment limit. So here if you consider the segment base address, the segment base address is up to 0 to 31. That means here the segment base address is 32 bit. Okay, and another one we can see here segment limit. So here the segment limit in this case also it is up to 0 to 19. So that is why here you can say the segment limit is 20 bit. So the base address size is 32 bit, whereas the segment limit is 20 bit. And next bits, if we consider here, we can see there is a bit G. So here the bit G indicates granularity, and another one is D. So here the bit D indicates default, and next one is 0, and next bit is AVL. So here this AVL stands for available for use, and next bit is P. So here P represents present bit. So P is here present, and so another one is DPL. This is DPL. So here DPL stands for descriptor privilege level, So descriptor privilege level. And another one is C. So here C stands for confirming. And here R is here readable. And the last bit is here A. So here A stands for accessed. Okay. So all these are the bits that are available in the code segment register. Now we will see what are the bits that are available in the data and stack segment descriptor. So if you see here, in this case also 0 to 31. That means here the segment base address is 32 bit. Segment base address is 32 bit. And the next what we have to see is segment limit. So if you see here, the segment limit is up to 0 to 19. So here the segment limit is 20 bit. Now coming to the remaining bits here, you can see G, same as the previous one. Here G represents granularity. And next bit is here B. So B represents big. And the next one is 0, same as the previous format. And next one is AVL. So we have this AVL in the previous format also. So AVL is available for use. Available for use. And the next is here P bit. So here P represents present. And next is DPL. So DPL stands for descriptor privilege level. So descriptor privilege level. And so next bits are 1 and 0. Next we can see here E. And here E bit represents expansion direction. And next bit is W. So here W stands for writable. And the last one is A, same as the previous format. A stands for accessed. Okay. So all these are different bits that are available in the code descriptor as well as data and stack segment descriptor. Okay. So now we will see the function of each bit present in this descriptor tables. Now, so here as we have seen the format of both, the segment base address is 32-bit value. And as we have seen in the previous format, the segment limit, if you consider, the segment limit is 20-bit value. So here the segment limit will be decided based on this G bit. So if G is 0, the limit is byte. If G is 1, the limit will be extended to 4 kilobytes. So where G represents here granular. As we have discussed, one more bit in the format is G bit, which we call as granularity. It indicates the limit of the segment. So here it may be byte or 4 KB. If G is 0, the limit is byte. If G is 1, the limit is 4 KB. So if it is byte granularity, offset can be adjusted with byte resolution. So the maximum segment size will be only 1 MB. Whereas if it is page granularity, the unit change of offset value shifts the linear address by 4 KB and the maximum segment size will be 4 GB. And the next bit present in that format is D bit, here where D represents default. If D bit is 1, it indicates the segment is 32-bit. If D bit is 0, it indicates the segment is 16-bit. Another bit is 5th bit, that is E bit. So E stands for expansion direction. So if E is 0, segment extends from its base address. It extends up to base address plus limit. Whereas if E is equal to 1, maximum offset down to the limit. That means the expansion is not possible. Now, the next bit is B bit. So here B stands for big. So this bit says expand down segments. So there is one mode of operation, expand down mode. If B is equal to 1, it indicates the maximum offset of this value. And if B is equal to 0, it indicates the maximum offset address with this value. Now, another bits are access bits. So under these access bits, different bits comes that are available in that segment descriptors. Under access bits, you have P bit. P represents here present. It is used for virtual memory managers. If P bit is 1, segment is present in the physical memory, it indicates. If P is 0, it indicates segment is not present in the physical memory. And next bit is A. A represents access bit. It determines the usage of the segment. If A is equal to 1, it indicates the segment is accessed. If A is equal to 0, it indicates the segment is not accessed. Another bit is DPL. It indicates descriptor privilege level. So it says privilege level of each segment. So you have 4 privilege levels. 2 bits RPL says the protection level. If it is 0, 0, it indicates level 0, 0, 1, level 1, 1, 0, level 2, and 1, 1, level 3. So level 0 is called the most privileged level. Level 3 is called the least privileged level. And so the DPL of current code segment indicates the current privilege level. Another fields that comes under access bits are readable. So in case of code segment, if you take, if R bit is 1, it indicates code segment is readable. If R is 0, it indicates code segment is not readable. Another bit is C. So C represents confirming. In case of code segment, if you say, if C is 0, it indicates whether CPL means current privilege level, changes when the segment is called from lesser privilege level. Otherwise, C bit will be equal to 1. Another bits are here, W. So if we consider data segment, W, if it is 1, it indicates that particular segment is writable. If W is equal to 0, it indicates the segment is not writable. So we have to consider here data segment only. Why? Because data segment is always writable. And the next one is AVL. It indicates available for use with system software. So since we have talked about descriptor, if any of the descriptor table is selected, the descriptor table may be either GDT, LDT or IDT. So GDT represents global descriptor table. It indicates the information related to all the tasks. And it addresses up to 512 MB of the virtual address space. And so here this GDT consists of some important characteristics like base address, limit, which indicates the size, and also it says how to access the privilege level. So all the information will be present in this GDT. And another table is here, LDT, local descriptor table. So this local descriptor table consists of the information related to single task. So here the address space that is available is here 512 MB. So LDT stands for local descriptor table. So this LDT is used in order to implement separate address space for multiple processes. So the operating system will switch from LDT when scheduling a new process by using an instruction called LDT instruction. Another descriptor table is IDT. So here IDT stands for interrupt descriptor table. So the information related to the interrupts like interrupt gate, task gates, all these information will be present in this descriptor table. So here you can call this LIDT as an instruction in order to perform load interrupt descriptor table operation. So that is what about the 3 descriptor tables. Coming to the privilege mechanism. So you have seen 4 privilege levels will be there. The 4 privilege levels are PL0, PL1, PL2 and PL3. Privilege level 0 will be having the highest priority, whereas privilege level 3 will be having the least priority. So here privilege level 0 stands for protection for the kernel, that is operating systems. If PL is 1, it is for the protection for system services. If PL is 2, protection will be for OS extensions. If PL is 3, protection will be for the applications. So these are the 4 level privilege mechanism structure. Now, so totally you have seen in the figure, these are the 4 privilege levels. So level 0 will be having the highest priority and level 3 will be having the least priority. Now, so each task assigned a privilege level which indicates the priority or privilege level of that task. It can only changed by transferring the control using gate descriptors to a new segment. That means privilege level can be changed in this manner. So level 0 will be having the most privilege level and level 3 will be having the least privilege level. That is why level 0 can be accessed by all the data segment, whereas level 3 can be accessed by only limited segments. Now, so generally if you take advanced microprocessor, that is Intel microprocessor 80x86, all those will be having some privilege concepts like CPL, RPL. Okay, so CPL stands for current privilege level. So this privilege level says the information related to the code that is executing currently. So the last 2 bits of CS register are considered as CPL. Generally, when this CPL is fixed, it cannot be changed during execution. It can be changed only by transferring the control using gate descriptors and new segment. Another one is after CPL, you will have RPL. So here RPL stands for requested privilege level. RPL is used to make this CPL stronger when higher privilege code is servicing lower privilege processor requests. And another one is DPL. So DPL stands for descriptor privilege level. So the information related to different descriptors, LDT, GDT, all these things will be stored in this level. So it indicates privilege level of the segment. DPL is interpreted based on the type of the segment. The type of the segment here, it may be either data segment or some other. If it is data segment, it will be having the highest privilege and that will be executed. The task will be executed. And another one is code segment. It is numerically having the lowest privilege level that a program or task have to be allowed to access the segments. And coming to here, the privileges, there are 4 privileges that are available. Okay, one is task privilege, descriptor privilege, selector privilege, and descriptor access and privilege check. Okay, so all these are the privilege levels. So in this task privilege level, it indicates the priority or privilege of each task. So if any of the 4 privilege levels may be used to execute the task. Generally, whenever particular task is executing, generally we call it as a task having the current privilege level. So that is what about the task privilege. Next one is descriptor privilege. The information related to descriptor tables will be available in that. So the DPL specifies the least task privilege level that may be used to refer to the descriptor. So privilege level 0 can refer to the lower level privilege descriptor, whereas privilege level 3 will refer to the highest privilege level descriptor. And next one is selector privilege. So it is having 13-bit base index, RPL and TI. So this privilege is specified by RPL field of segment register. So the selector RPL may use less trusted privilege than the current privilege level. That is why that means selector privilege is known as effective privilege level of a task. So among this, the effective privilege levels are CPL and RPL. And the last privilege level is descriptor access and privilege check. That means after checking the privilege level only, that particular descriptor will be accessed. So the task requesting an access to the descriptor, access will be allowed only after checking the privilege level. So what are all the things it has to check means? It has to check the type of the descriptor, it has to check the privilege level, either it may be current privilege level, requested privilege level or descriptor privilege level. After checking all these only, the access will be given. So the basic type of segment accesses are control transfers and data transfers. So this is the information related to segmentation. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.